Hi, my name is Eric Lopez, and this is my EDA 578 final presentation answering the question, what is a good school? I'm part of Group A2. So the purpose of this presentation is to share our leadership team's evolving vision of what a good school should look like based on the deeper understanding that we have gained from this course. This matters because as school leaders, it is our responsibility to examine where our school systems and society overlap and determine how to avoid reproducing the mindsets and attitudes that have led to inequitable outcomes for a disproportionate number of minority students. We want our schools to have a teaching and learning environment that inspires creativity, confidence, and camaraderie for all the school's stakeholders. The goal of education, bottom line, stripped down to its essence, is student success. With that in mind, a good school should be an environment that would support every child and teacher to reach their full potential and find success. The developing mind. Knowing the developing brain uses all areas to experience our environments, predict the outcomes of events, react, and learn is crucial to understanding how to approach children as learners. Regions are connected by neural pathways that become stronger with frequent use and degrade when not used. Childhood experiences have lasting impacts on the architecture of the brain. We as educators must create positive opportunities for children to interact with their learning environment in a variety of ways while developing executive functioning skills and building resilience. A good school should look like something that has that creates a positive opportunity for children to interact with their learning environment in a variety of ways. So schools as systems. Just as we see interconnectivity between the developing regions of the brain, we also see it in the systems of our school. At a good school, this can be observed in the structures, being the buildings, facilities, classrooms, and culture, the beliefs, values, and expectations of the campus, but also in the agency of those striving to provide students with the best resources to succeed. Each aspect supports the other from any angle. So going back, we see a good school should look like. So a good school must create positive opportunities for children to interact with their learning environment in a variety of ways, and it's interconnected through the agency of those striving to provide students with the best resources to succeed. Systems theory. At the center of agency is the instructional core. This relationship between the student and teacher in the presence of content is interconnected to every element of the learning system that students will encounter in an effective teaching and learning environment. What happens in one part of the system will affect the other parts of the system. Relationships are key. No significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. James Comer. That leads us to trauma's effect on the learner. Knowing how experiences affect the physical structure of the brain, we can now take a closer look at childhood traumas and get a better understanding of why some students appear to be misbehaving. Adverse childhood experiences are traumatic events that have elicited a significant stress response in some way, somehow. These experiences include abuse, neglect, and exposure to verbal abuse, violence, or parental substance abuse. Toxic stress occurs as a child's body systems stay in this heightened state of stress response for prolonged time without the support of a caring adult to buffer them. Trauma-informed care, also known as TIC, is a practice that recognizes the widespread impact of trauma and emphasizes trauma-sensitive approaches to promoting healing and empowerment. TIC communicates transparently to establish and build authentic, trusting relationships. So once again, a good school should look like. A good school must create positive opportunities for children to interact with their learning environment in a variety of ways, is interconnected through the agency of those striving to provide students with the best resources to succeed, and uses TIC rooted in developing executive functioning skills, building resilience, and authentic relationships. That takes us to the Dear Colleague letter of 2014 written by the Departments of Justice and Education. This notified every school district in the nation, reminding them of their legal obligations to administer discipline in a non-discriminatory way. This letter was in response to the overall increase of out-of-school suspensions, the disproportionate impact of those suspensions on certain student groups, and the negative educational and long-term ramifications of these trends. This is known as a school-to-prison pipeline. Here, zero-tolerance policies based out of fear and control had run amok in education and resulted in significant disparity to those students more likely to have suffered from trauma. Suspended students were 3 times more likely to enter the juvenile justice system, and once in the juvenile justice system, students are 50% more likely to become incarcerated as an adult. Disproportionality in the data. The data is clear. African American youths are suspended or expelled on average of 3 times the rate that they should when compared to population statistics. Additionally, groups who seemingly benefit from the disproportionality are now further subjected to unrealistic stereotypes and societal pressures about achievement. When we as educators are not creating environments that best help our students to succeed, then what are we doing? So why is this happening? After the Civil War and a time known as Reconstruction, the American white culture made a deliberate and sustained effort to dehumanize the black citizens, the newly emancipated or having long established freedoms. Jim Crow laws mandated segregation, where separate was not equal. And this happened up until the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act of the mid-1960s. And it still exists in some municipalities to some extent. These stains in our collective consciousness are deeply woven into the communal construct that has developed from the social fabric of our past and manifest as implicit bias. Implicit biases are subconscious attitudes or stereotypes that impact understanding, action, and decisions unconsciously. These biases can influence behavior even when people consciously believe in equality and fairness, even in judges. Ways of combating implicit bias. Talk openly about race. As a school leader, be open to diverse perspectives. Remember to seek first, to understand, and then to be understood. Take the Harvard Implicit Association test and encourage others to. And when conversing with people that have a different belief system than you, remember you are not attacking their identity. If they really believe this to be true, then they will associate their identity with their beliefs. Start with an affirmation. Throw them off guard by being kind. After, you may have a constructive dialogue using both of your points of perspective. Remember, listen first, be understood second. So once again, we have a good school should look like. A good school must create positive opportunities for children to interact with their learning environment in a variety of ways. Is interconnected through the agency of those striving to provide students with the best resources to succeed. Uses trauma-informed care rooted in developing executive functioning skills, building resilience and authentic relationships. And addresses inequality in school discipline through acknowledgement of implicit bias, personal and cultural, and through ongoing conversations about equability with all stakeholders. That leads us to restorative justice. Restorative justice is an approach to discipline that focuses on repairing the harm caused by the offense of subsequent conflict rather than only the punishment of the offender, holds the offender accountable for their actions, and provides opportunity for them to make things right. It encourages the participation of those harmed in the conversation and to repair the harm to whatever extent possible. It views infraction as a violation of relationships, affecting communities and the offender. It originated in the response to zero-tolerance policies. Restorative justice may be implemented in schools for a variety of reasons that include classroom disruptions, bullying, theft, fighting, or even whole school restorative practices that work to support a positive school culture. Restorative justice that is student-ran as circles can be applied to everyday conflicts and disputes in school classrooms and other communal settings to promote understanding, resolve issues, and strengthen the relationships in the school culture as a whole. So in the end, a good school must create positive opportunities for children to interact with their learning environment in a variety of ways. It is interconnected through the agency of those striving to provide students with the best resources to succeed. Uses trauma-informed care rooted in developing executive functioning skills, building resilience, and authentic relationships. Addresses inequality in school discipline through acknowledgement of implicit bias, personal and cultural, and through ongoing conversations about equitability with all school stakeholders. And uses restorative justice discipline practices aimed at repairing the harm done to relationships and building a positive, supportive community instead of prosecuting an offender. In conclusion, If the purpose of education is to provide an environment that would support all students and teachers to reaching their full potential and succeed, then we must be able to reimagine the constructs, interactions, and expectations of our schools. A school must support the needs of student success above all else. This includes the knowledge that social and emotional needs support the academic needs, and in fact, they are one and the same. So, what is a good school then? I have a good school must create positive opportunities for children to interact with their learning environment in a variety of ways, is interconnected through the agencies of those striving to provide students with the best resources to succeed, uses trauma-informed care rooted in developing executive functioning skills, building resilience and authentic relationships, addresses inequality in school discipline through acknowledgement and implicit bias, and through ongoing conversations about equitability with all school stakeholders, and uses restorative justice discipline practices aimed at repairing the harm done to relationships and building a positive supportive community instead of prosecuting an offender. Through all of these systems and learning, though, the one true commonality has been the importance of relationships. Knowing that someone else or even a community genuinely and authentically cares for and believes in you is the key to having a good school. I will end with a Maya Angelou quote that in the end, after you've taught them everything you can about school, they're going to remember how you made them feel. And I know that's not the exact quote, but I feel it has bearing on this topic. It's all about the relationships. It's all about how you make people feel and wanting them to believe that they can achieve and wanting them to know that the school is a good, safe, and caring environment. All right. My name is Eric Lopez once again. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.